Alright everyone, welcome back. Generation Y, solar powered QFM for the second half of what Forbes ranked the #1 most educational show in the country. Today I'm here, second half of today, I'm joined by Joshua Thomas from New Energy Industry. Your goal, Josh, is overhauling our energy infrastructure, providing opportunities to change the world. You also work for ID Nation Specialist. You started both of these, I believe, so you're like a young entrepreneur.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly like a young entrepreneur. So Josh, let's get right to it because we only have 30 minutes and there's a lot going on in New Energy Industry. So before we start, let's do the most basic of questions. What is New Energy Industry?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Essentially, it's two things. The way I'm going at it, the New Energy Industry is an educational organization intent on enlightening you and everyone else on the discoveries being made in breakthrough energy laboratories around the world. So that's one aspect of the New Energy Industry, an educational organization. But it's also an actual industry within the economy it's been around for a while, slowly growing, but it's getting to the point to where it's now essentially prompting a global energy revolution. As you said, overhauling the energy infrastructure.
Now, I've seen Terminator 1, 2, and 3. I've seen Skynet. I know that whole deal. Put me at ease. Why should people not be afraid of all these new technological advances that we're seeing today?
Well, there's millions of things to be scared of. And I think the root of any fear comes from lack of information, lack of the ability to understand what it is that we're talking about. Which that's another big goal of the New Energy Industry is to make this topic comfortable to where people can have an intelligent conversation around it without so much kind of like fear or misinformation around the topic.
And so that's kind of been the goal so far for New Energy Industries, right? Is you're trying to make people understand what's actually going on out there. Do you find when you started New Energy Industries that there's just a lot of misinformation, or is it not really misinformation as much as it's just people don't know about these advances?
It's both. It's misinformation and people just don't know. Like there's plenty of cases where magnetic motors or plasma generators or radiant chargers or any form of new energy technology, there's plenty of cases where these devices have been developed, but you're not going to find it in the mainstream media, the news. The only place you're going to find it is in essentially the far depths of the internet, which is awesome now that we have the internet and the ability to essentially seek that knowledge on your own rather than relying on corporate media to give you the information. Because essentially the same people who own the corporate media also own the current energy infrastructure, which is structured around coal and oil, multi-trillion-dollar industry that they have a lot invested in and they don't want to see go anywhere quite yet. And all of the technologies that I'm promoting essentially will make all of the current energy technologies obsolete, which is a good thing because we're in an energy crisis, which is causing an economic crisis, which is causing an environmental crisis, etc. So the notion of making the current energy technologies obsolete makes me pretty excited.
And a lot of our infrastructure, of course, is based right now in things like coal and oil, and of course so are many profits for congressmen as well as people who own the coal and the coal industry and the oil industry. New energy industry, these types of new energies, are they more or less expensive than what we're seeing today, or does it kind of vary since there are so many?
Well, it's a completely different economic model. Essentially, the current economic model around our energy infrastructure is this. We use coal or oil or uranium, what have you, as an energy source. That energy source we have to pay for, that we then put into a device. For example, oil goes into a car, we turn it into mechanical energy. Coal goes into a power plant, we turn it into electrical energy. So this energy source gets put into a device, and then it becomes usable energy. We have to pay for the energy source in this model. The model I'm promoting, the New Energy Industries model, is there's new energy sources that we're realizing that we don't essentially have to pay for. One kind of obvious example is solar energy. There's solar panels right outside that window. We can see them right now. The energy that comes from the sun is real tangible energy that we can transform into electrical energy, but we don't have to pay anything for that initial energy source. We only have to pay for the device that transformed the energy into electrical energy. So solar is a really common form of new energy technology, but where I want to take things is to the real breakthrough forms of technology, in that when I say the new energy industry, I'm essentially also saying galactic space exploration, because these devices that are emergent within the new energy industry not only promise to resolve the global energy crisis overnight, but they essentially are also spaceship technology, and they also provide the opportunity to usher humanity into a new era of galactic space exploration. So it's kind of a double whammy of excitement. Resolve the global energy crisis, which will have an echo effect throughout the entire global economy, and then open up the door to being able to travel the cosmos, which is pretty cool. Like the notion of going to the moon in a couple of hours.
Yeah, I would love to see the moon. I mean, I've seen the moon. I would like to see the moon from the moon. I think that'd be neat.
What about seeing the Earth from the moon?
That too. That too. Cool. I think all of that would be a lot of fun. Yeah. The only thing I don't want to do, I don't want to do that thing where they to go before you go to space, they make you spin around really quickly or whatever. Astronauts testing. Yeah. If I could skip that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like right now, people have to train for years in order to become astronauts to get the opportunity to go to space based on combustion technology, because it's incredibly dangerous. It's essentially clumsy and not the best way to do things. But these technologies that are emergent will essentially the same kind of commonality of getting onto an airplane and going from here to, say, New York. It will be the same kind of principles behind traveling to outer space. Like there's no real need to become an astronaut when these new technologies essentially become mainstream. And essentially, I'll just get to the point. There's two specific forms of technology emergent right now that are completely unique, different from each other. Both of them independently offer to resolve the global energy crisis and are also spaceship technology. And these technologies are the Searle effect generator, the SEG, and the Kesh plasma generator. So those are my two, the most exciting ones that I like to promote. And I'm in the process right now of developing a campaign around the newenergyindustry.com, the website, part of the learning network, where I'm going to travel to both of these organizations, both of these laboratories, and speak with the scientists and entrepreneurs in charge with both of these independent projects from each other, in order to, one, educate myself, educate you, and educate the world via internet and preaching this new exciting industry.
So do you have just a little information on what the SEG or KPG really is? For those who probably have no idea, myself.
They both essentially come from the same fundamental principles, but the Kesh plasma generator is on a micro scale in that it's built with atoms, and the Searle effect generator is on a macro scale in that it's built with essentially larger permanent magnets. Atoms are also little tiny magnets. They have their positive and negative charges. So two different forms, the micro, Kesh plasma generator, the macro, real tangible magnets. But the quick nutshell on how the principles behind them, the Kesh plasma generator is developed around creating specific conditions within the reactor so that it essentially creates an ionization process. And what that means is, say you have an atom and an electron that's circling around the atom leaves that atom, becomes a free electron, and enters another atom. That's an ionization process. So what Miran Kesh, the classically trained nuclear engineer who has developed this technology, what he's done is discovered a way to create a self-perpetuating ionization process that not only can produce energy, but it can also create new materials, can create magnets for pretty much any different materials. The whole goal behind the Kesh technology is, first and foremost, is they're very open with being a space organization. Their goal is to make it possible for humans to live in outer space independent from Earth itself. Like right now, that's completely impossible. The idea of going to space and not needing to bring all of the food, all of the water, all of the fuel with you is not possible. But the technology behind the Kesh Foundation, and most recently the Spaceship Institute, which is an educational organization that they just recently launched, intent on teaching this knowledge to the world. It's essentially a teacher-trainer program for this new technology. But that's the Kesh micro, creating conditions that essentially open up the door of gravity within the world of science, which is a door that's been closed to us forever. We understand how gravity works. We drop things, they fall, we can measure that, and then we can make rocket ships that go to the moon. But we have no idea, as of now, how gravity is created, where it comes from. Everything possesses a little bit of gravity, but we have no idea how it's produced. So Kesh, essentially in his 5 books and his multiple hours of YouTube videos and his technologies has answered that question, and it's really exciting. So that's Kesh. Then we got Searle. John Searle is the original inventor. He's quite old now. He's not going to be around for much longer. But the good news is he has a successor by the name of Fernando Morris. Fernando Morris is the chief engineer and the CEO of Searle Magnetics in California. And what they've done, they've proven the concept, essentially a scientific breakthrough, that we can program magnetic wave functions into permanent magnetic materials. So if we create multiple magnetic wave functions that interact with each other in permanent magnets, we can create a self-perpetuating magnetic motor, a magnetic motor that is its own prime mover because of these unique magnetic wave functions. And this is all proven. You can see it on YouTube, and it's really impressive stuff. Most people look at it and they have no idea what they're seeing, and they poke themselves in the eye, which is completely reasonable, which is part of the reasons why it's my goal to educate people on what they're actually seeing when they see this thing. So that's the Searle effect generator, made out of permanent magnets, and very similar concept as the Kesh plasma generator, just done on a different level of creation. As opposed to atoms, it's done with permanent magnets.
Again, we're talking with Joshua Thomas, who is one of the founders of the new energy industry. You can check out the website, thenewenergyindustry.com. And what you just said, you know, the idea that people like me probably need people like you, Josh, because I'm listening to all this and I'm trying so hard to grasp it, and I think I do, but I also got a C in science in both freshman and senior year of college, so it's hard. And so my question to you is, how are you going to bring these fascinating transitions in the world of technology and make it so that the lay people like me or your friend Jordan Wallace, who probably can't understand some of this, how are you going to bring it down and make it so that we can understand it? And is that kind of the goal?
Totally, yeah. It's totally the goal. It's really quite simple. It's not a matter of understanding the real technical aspect of the technology itself. I mean, if we look at this computer, this microphone, that camera, these lights, we don't really need to understand the technical workings behind them. They work, and it's really impressive. The internet, the cell phones. I send a message on this thing, it travels through the speed of light, through space and time, and lands on your cell phone pretty close to instantaneously, and it's really impressive. All with being completely oblivious to the actual technological workings behind it. So with that, rolling that similar concept into the new energy industry, the fundamental concept that I would say is at the foundation of the new energy industry is this. Our current view of the universe is essentially a material view. The universe is made of particles, electrons, protons, neutrons, little tiny bits of matter. Little tiny bits of matter that only comprise 0.99999% of the entire universe, whereas the empty space that connects all of these pieces of matter it far exceeds the amount of actual matter that's in the universe. So, recapping that, our view of the universe is a material view currently. However, we're currently waking up to the fact that it's actually an energetic universe that we live in. Everything is energy. All of the matter that comprises your body and this microphone and this coconut juice, all of the matter that builds up that is essentially energy first. We can see this in Einstein's formula, energy equals matter moving at the speed of light squared, E equals mc squared. So once we make the realization in our minds that we don't live in a material universe, we live in an energetic universe, that will set us on the tipping point to then be able to realize these really amazing breakthrough forms of new energy technology, where we don't have to actually burn things to extract the energy. We can harness them in a way that's in attunement with the laws of nature.
It's interesting. One of my, actually not one of my favorite books. To be honest, I don't even like the book very much. We had to read in high school Dan Danilo's White Noise, considered one of the great American contemporary writers, and he has a whole passage about how if he went back in time, he wouldn't, we would think we're so much smarter than we used to be because, we have light bulbs and microphones and this and that, but the average person couldn't go back in time and recreate electricity, right?
Exactly.
And so, and it's because of that we need people like the man with me right now, Joshua Thomas, for New Energy Industry, to help smooth that transition. Are there countries around the world that are putting in the effort for new energy technologies, or is it kind of second most of the world to oil and coal and things that have already been used and that are a big player in global economics?
Yeah, totally. The entire world is pretty much powered by coal and oil.
Yeah.
But other than that, kind of the where the new energy is right now, touching real quick on solar panels, as that is our current form of realized new energy technology. Germany is the solar leader of the world, essentially, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Germany is the solar leader. And if you look at Germany on a map, on the globe itself, it's at the same longitude as essentially the very bottom of Alaska. So the same amount of solar energy that Germany gets, Alaska gets, which is impressive, because we think it doesn't make sense to put solar panels where it doesn't get enough solar energy, but it absolutely does. And the reason why Germany is the solar leader is because of their public policy. They have public policies that encourage the development of solar technology, and which opens up the door to other forms of breakthrough energy technology, because it's building that new economic model. The economic model of coal and oil is essentially a polar opposite of that of solar energy, and then getting into vacuum energy or zero-point energy or the unified field, etc. But regardless of solar panel, now talking into the current events with breakthrough energy technology, yeah, different countries are definitely promoting it more than others. One quick example is the Kesh Foundation. Miron Kesh, gentleman I was just talking about, inventor of the Kesh plasma generator, classically trained nuclear engineer. The Kesh Foundation was originally located in Belgium, but just recently they've picked up shop and moved to Italy because of the support they were receiving from the people of Italy, the scientists of Italy, as well as the government of Italy itself. So they made the decision to move from Belgium to Italy because of the warm welcome that they were receiving, rather than being essentially hounded and having blockages placed in front of them so this technology can't get out to the people. They've moved to Italy to increase their ability to essentially teach the world this knowledge.
And so you obviously have a huge passion for this stuff, and it's incredibly fascinating. And if I could ever, I wish I could one day say like, oh, I'm a nuclear physicist. That would be fun. But what really pushed you over the edge to want to start the new energy industries? And also, I assume it's not just you on the new energy industry. There's a team with you. So if you can just talk about why new energy industries, what pushed you there, and maybe a little bit about your team.
Cool. Yeah, good question. There's so many places to start. I guess I'll just have to pick one. What originally got my mind working towards what is now the new energy industry in my mind was this dream I had about 9 or 10 years ago of a device that just didn't stop moving, a device that just kept spinning. It was its own self-perpetuating machine. And just that concept that I experienced in my dream state fascinated me. I was like, there's no documented evidence anywhere in mainstream science of a device that never stops moving, yada, yada, yada. I tell my dad about this dream, who's an electrician, and he says, oh, that's a perpetual motion machine. It's impossible. If you do it, you'll win the Nobel Prize. It's literally impossible, breaks the laws of thermodynamics, etc. And I listened to his side of the conversation, but inside of me, I couldn't believe that the notion of a device that never stopped moving was impossible, because we live in a galaxy that is perpetually rotating within a solar system that's perpetually rotating on a planet that's perpetually rotating, and we're comprised of atoms that are perpetually rotating, electrons moving around the nucleus, etc. So then, with all of that, just kind of looking at nature and seeing all this dynamic movement, and then taking that and then saying, no, it's impossible to build a device that's able to move on its own, really got my wheels turning and started fueling this passion. And I've done several different projects in the past years, trying to establish myself, trying to establish some sort of essentially a career in the new energy industry, an industry that doesn't quite exist yet and is openly suppressed. Try to develop a career in it. You're kind of crazy. But it essentially came through that desire to establish a career in the new energy industry that motivated me to buy the domain name thenewenergyindustry.com and then develop it into what I like to refer to as the home of the education required in order to actually realize a global energy revolution. And with regards to my team, it's essentially just me doing most of the legwork right now. I have my business partner for ideation specialists, Nick, who is a co-collaborator of mine. Until I launched the Founders Coin campaign, I'm in the process of sculpting a custom coin in tribute to Nikola Tesla. I'm sculpting via 3D CNC router design software an image of Tesla on a coin that will be our main revenue stream. All the education on the new energy industry is free, but in order to empower this work, we have to have some sort of revenue stream. So I'm developing an epic Founders coin, part of the Founders Annual Coin Club. So once that launches, I'll have the financial liquidity to start really building a rock star team. But as for right now, it's pretty much just me and a passion and the ability to preach this stuff.
Well, it's how all things start. And I mean, God, 40 years ago, what people would say is impossible to now. I mean, 15 years ago, there's no such thing as an iPod.
Yeah.
Now it's, what it's become. But we're running out of time. So before I let you go, I would like to know just how can I, just a young man or woman driving in the car listening to the show, how can I check out the new energy industry? How can I be helpful to the new energy industry? Where should I go online? Where should I go?
Yeah, awesome. Good question. Well, first go to www.thenewenergyindustry.com. Check it out. I got plenty of videos on there where I'm rapping about all this stuff, plenty of articles where I'm writing about all this stuff. In the very near future, probably by the time some of the listeners are listening to this, obviously not live, but this time next week, I'm going to be developing the learning network, the free online learning network at thenewenergyindustry.com. Join it for free, and then you'll receive regular updates, short videos from me personally, conveying different aspects of the new energy industry, be it organizations, individuals, breakthroughs, discoveries, all sorts of cool information presented directly to you in a way that's fun, exciting, and educational. And that's all part of the free online learning network that I'm essentially developing right now on the website. So by joining that is a tangible way of essentially joining the new energy revolution, overhauling our global energy infrastructure.
And this question might not be answerable, but how far away do you think we are from people really realizing that new energy is the way to go and it's time to take a step back from coal? Or does it all matter when the politicians say?
I think it's here already, to be honest with you. The reason I feel so confident in being able to launch this educational organization that is the newenergyindustry.com is because of there's a lot of people out there who are already aware of this concept. They already know that coal and oil can be replaced via discoveries that have already been made. This is common knowledge to many, many, many people. It's just a matter of creating a system around it that is actually able to empower it in a way that is irrepressible. And the only way to empower this technology in a way that is irrepressible is to start with education. Education is paramount. Once enough people actually know about the Kesh plasma generator, know about the Searle effect generator, know about Muammer Yildiz and his magnetic motors, know about John Bedini and all of the radiant chargers and magnetic motors that he's developed, know about Tom Bearden and all of the endless documents he's written about breakthrough physics and the new electrodynamics that are emerging. It's going to essentially again become insuppressible.
Well, Josh, I wanna thank you so much for coming on the show. Any last words to
Yes, I do. I want to actually give a shout out to 4 people. Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX, space exploration technology. He's a boss. I'm looking to work with him in the near future. Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist, galactic space pioneer. He's a boss. Shout out to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Galactic, epic organization that's pioneering space travel. They're all doing it on combustion technology, which is Jurassic compared to the emergent technologies of today. So all of this I want to talk to them about. And also Russell Brand, the leader of the revolution. I would like to tell him on my ideas of how to actually empower this revolution with which he speaks so passionately about.
Well, again, this has been Joshua Thomas, New Energy Industry. You've been listening on 100.1 Solar Powered QFM, Generation Y. Stay tuned for Centripetal Sound.
Check this out. I just built a plasma reactor generator to prove the concept of the Kesh electric generator. Positive 36. Now, where is that energy coming from? All of modern society, all of our modern technology, everything that we have today has been designed and constructed and developed with zero understanding of the creation of gravity and magnetic fields. We understand how gravity works, but we have no idea where it comes from, how it's produced until now.